You know how sometimes you plan a trip, just a simple little getaway, and it just spirals into something else entirely, something straight out of a horror movie. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. This is a story about five friends, a beach that's supposedly haunted, and a local legend that just refused to stay buried.
So, here it is. This is the one rule, the big one. It's this chilling piece of folklore that's been passed down for generations, and it just hangs over this place, Dumas Beach. It sounds like a simple superstition, right? Just an old wives' tale, until you find out what happens when someone decides to ignore it.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off with five college friends who are, just bored with their usual plans. They've done the whole Goa party beach thing to death, and they're looking for something different, something with a little more of an edge. And that's when one of them, Mayor, brings up this place from his childhood stories, the infamous Dumas Beach.
And this is what I find so interesting. Why they chose this place. It was this perfect storm, really. On one hand, you've got modern curiosity, fueled by all those viral reels and spooky videos you see online. But on the other hand, you have these ancient, really unsettling stories that Mayor grew up hearing from the village elders. It was like the old world and the new world just slammed right into each other.
So they made a pact. A smart one, you'd think. This was not going to be some reckless ghost hunt. The plan was super simple, super safe. Show up in the afternoon, see the beach in broad daylight, and be long gone before the sun even thought about setting. No heroics, no crazy adventures. But, well, as you can probably guess, Dumas Beach had other plans.
All right, so why? Why does this one particular stretch of beach have such a dark, creepy reputation? What's the big deal? Well, the answer isn't really a ghost story in the way you might think. It's literally buried right there, under their feet, in the sand itself.
Okay, get this. For centuries, Dumas Beach wasn't a beach. It was a shmashan. That's a Hindu burial ground, a place for cremations. And the local legend? The reason the sand is that eerie black color is because it's literally mixed with human ash from countless funeral pyres. They even say that a lot of uncremated bodies were just buried right there in the sand. It's so deeply ingrained that even today, the local fishermen, they refuse to take their boats out anywhere near there after sunset. No way.
Now, the government did eventually move the official cremation ground, to try and encourage tourism. But that feeling, it never left. And that's the thing, isn't it? Some places are just so soaked in history, so steeped in ritual, that they can never truly wash their past away.
So when the friends finally get there, their first impression is just total confusion. I mean, they're picturing this empty, eerie, desolate place, right? But what they actually find is something else entirely. The beach is absolutely buzzing with life. It's like a carnival. You've got kids playing, vendors selling snacks. Everything looks completely normal. But then they look down, and the feeling just shifts. The sand isn't just black, it's weirdly loose. It gives them this horrible sensation that they're walking over some kind of soft pit.
And that's when they see it. The first real, undeniable sign that something is just off. One part of the beach is totally packed with people, but then there's this invisible line. And beyond that line, the rest of this huge beach is completely, unnervingly empty. And the weirdest part? Nobody crosses it.
So as they're just standing there trying to make sense of this, an old man who's collecting plastic bottles walks up to them. They ask him, "Hey, why doesn't anyone go further down the beach?" And he just looks at them with these tired eyes and says in this chillingly calm voice, "It's because many people are sleeping underneath." He was talking about the dead.
You'd think after that they'd turn back, right? But nope. Despite all the warnings, the invisible line, the old man's words, curiosity got the better of a few of them. They spotted these old ruins way off in the distance, and this, right here, is the moment their safe, simple little plan just completely disintegrates.
So here's how it all falls apart. Kushal and Mayur, they're determined. They have to go check out those ruins. But Ria, she's just overwhelmed by this awful feeling, and she flat out refuses to cross that invisible line. So Arav, being a good friend, stays back with her. Neil tries to go with the boys for a bit, but then he gets spooked too and turns around. And just like that, it's only Kushal and Mayur pushing forward, all alone.
And at first, the two of them are just messing around, They're distracted by the waves and exploring these creepy ruins. They completely lose track of time. And then they look up, and the sky is this deep, bruised orange. The sun is gone. They're lost. And night is falling fast on Dumas Beach.
Okay, so at 6 p.m., the second the sun slips below the horizon, the beach just empties. Like someone flipped a switch. The carnival is over. Back at the entrance, their friends are starting to seriously panic. But for Kushal and Mayur, it's so much worse. They're stumbling around in this disorienting darkness, their phone batteries are dying, and then, finally, midnight hits. The last flicker of light from their phone goes out, and they are plunged into total, absolute blackness.
And this is when the real terror begins. First, it's just whispers on the wind, calling their names. Then Mayur hears something impossible, the voice of his grandmother, who had vanished without a trace 8 years ago. Suddenly, the air fills with this choking smell of burning wood, just like a funeral pyre. Then they see it, a phantom funeral procession in the distance, chanting Ram Nam Satyahe, a prayer for the dead. And then the procession turns and starts chasing them with burning logs. Out of nowhere, a pack of phantom dogs materializes, attacks them, and then just vanishes into thin air. In a final desperate move, they run into the sea, and that's when they see a giant glowing figure rising up out of the water. It was too much. I mean, what can you even do at that point? Their minds and their bodies just gave out. Attacked by one impossible horror after another, completely exhausted and terrified beyond words, they both just collapsed. They fell into that black sand and lost consciousness.
You know, their story doesn't end with some big, dramatic escape. There's no relief, really. It ends with the quiet, chilling aftermath and the scars, both physical and psychological, that they carried back with them from that beach.
So the next morning, a search party, the police, their friends, they finally found them. They were just lying there, unconscious, right at the water's edge, covered in wet sand, completely and totally unresponsive.
And when they were finally brought back and examined by a doctor, they both had a dangerously high fever. We're talking 103 degrees. It was almost as if their bodies were having this intense physical reaction to the sheer terror they'd been through, a real, tangible symptom of a supernatural nightmare.
The fevers did eventually break, but the experience, that left a permanent mark. It's said that to this very day, whenever Mayur smells burning wood, he screams in his sleep. He's trapped, right back on that beach, reliving that night over and over again.
So that leaves us with the big question, right? What really happened out there that night? Was it all in their heads? Did the beach's dark history and all those powerful stories just prime their minds for terror, making them create a nightmare out of shadows and strange sounds? Or did Kushal and Mayur actually come face to face with the tormented spirits of a place that refuses to forget its dead? It really makes you wonder, is our own fear the most powerful ghost of all?